This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, this is Bill O'Brien, 9th District Councilman and Chairman of the Parks Rec Committee. And we're going to call to order the February 4th, 2021 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee at 6:02 p.m. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of January 7th?
Paul Hoydick, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Second by Rick, thanks. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. How many do we have, Margot? I mean, Aileen,
How many what?
how many members do we have? Or do you just put passes unanimously?
Yeah, I have in attendance, you have Drew, Paul, Sean, Rick, you, and Ken, and Craig.
Oh, by the way, thanks everybody for last meeting where we had everybody, all 9 members. Okay, I guess, Chad, you're up to bat.
I have nothing to report. I'm just kidding. You know, you get early, you get a wise guy answer. Chad Esposito, Park Superintendent for Town of Stratford. You know, we've had a lot going on in the parks and stuff like that. Our final cleanups, our final leaf cleanups, our on all the sports fields and all that stuff. We did all of our dormant fertilization so that it carries over to next year. Our premier fields, you know, like DeLuca, Stony Brook, Short Beach, Clover, those types of fields. So the agronomic programs we put in. We did a bunch of stuff down at the golf course too. I know this isn't Short Beach, but for the greens, we buried them in sand. We did some other agricultural programs down there towards the end. At Penders, we lowered the first base line netting per the manufacturer's suggestion in the wintertime so that it doesn't sustain wind damage, catch snow. It lets the net last a little bit longer. So we lower it to about half staff or halfway down.
Where was that, Chad? That was at Longbrook?
At Penders, yeah, at Longbrook, yep.
And what about the one at DeLuca? Does that get lowered or no?
DeLuca is fixed. There's nothing we can do with that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We talked with the people on the manufacturer and the architects, and it's basically built as a suspension net to handle winter times. So, you know, there's nothing we could do. We can't remove it anyway. So, but they said it's kind of built into the design and the netting.
Okay.
The netting is going to have a finite term, whether we replace it in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. At some point, we're going to have to replace it. So, okay, just get it. We're kind of go through all the budget stuff and everything, preparing for this upcoming season. So we're just kind of staying, and then with the snowstorms thrown in, you know, we have our due diligence to do our snow removal in schools and all of that. So if anybody has a question, I could field it, but we're moving.
So Chad, under your report, you had something about the tennis courts at Longbrook.
Yes, I still haven't received any new information from the engineers or the architects yet. I know they're looking at location, size, proximity, where it's going to go, and all of that stuff. I don't think they've come up with a finalized design yet, or at least I haven't seen one. So it's still in the same status as it's in the engineer's hands, and we haven't seen a draft or at least a finalized draft to pass along to you guys.
Yeah, I know the last I heard was we were supposed to hold off on doing anything until we know that the money situation is good. So I guess we'll just wait till next month and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it could change. It could come to us, and then we'll put it to you guys, to Longbrook, to, you know, all the commissions that need. I know you had kind of mentioned, are you going to bring up the golf course stuff, or is that, do you want me to talk about that or no?
Yeah, why don't you?
I know you have in your report that they had talked about changing some of the out of town rates. Only because, we're kind of in a cheap area and the golf course is getting better and better and better in this year. And this year we saw a large increase of not only play and revenue, but a large increase of people from other towns, surrounding towns, coming to the golf course because other courses are just very busy. We get a lot of, we love it down here with the beach and the atmosphere and close to the water and how flat it is and how large the greens are. People really love the course, and it's starting to travel outside of our little niche that we're getting a lot of repeat customers on the outside. So I just wanted to give you a little comparison of in 2019, we did $135,122. And then in 2020, this past season, we did $180,169. So we increased our revenue by $45,000, which equates to 3,500 more rounds from the season before. And that's just from July 1st till December 31st. So rounds are up, people are up, everything is up. 3,500 rounds over 6-7 months is a significant. So I know when we were talking in the Short Beach Commission about how, it's a pride of Stratford and our course and people are starting to venture out, they felt like the out-of-towners should be paying, to come to our property and our asset. So that's where the proposal came from, because I had given them the numbers about how well we did and how golf on the whole did extremely well in these times. But we think it's going to go beyond COVID. We hired Pete Pulaski, the former director of golf for Yale University. So he's on staff now, and he's got all kinds of grand plans and programs and groups and clinics and all of that stuff. So we're hoping that it sustains and that we become busier and busier and busier. What's up, Aileen?
Excuse me. This is Aileen Marsh, Secretary speaking. Caller 1, I think it's you, Bob Jekyll. If you're not talking, could you please mute yourself, because we're getting a lot of back feed.
Can you?
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody should be muted unless they're talking. We are getting a lot of background noise, especially the callers. Thanks.
So that's kind of where the premise sits. So again, I know if you want to talk about it more, that's where we came from. Bill, did you lose?
Okay, here we go. Yeah, why don't we've got it listed for new business, so I guess at that point we'll discuss and decide whether to approve it or send it to council or whatever. Thanks. And then I thought we talked about something. Anybody remember an item we wanted to put in the CIP for next year? I'm drawing a blank, but I thought we talked about something. Was it possibly the what do you call it? You don't call it fencing. What do you call that they put down at Paradise Green?
The wood rail?
What's that? The rail.
Like those guardrails that they put up? Yeah.
Guardrail, yeah. Remember we talked about possibly doing that at Chapel and other places, Wigwam. Is that the thing we talked about putting into the CIP? You remember anything, Aileen, offhand? I don't see it in the minutes, but I know we did talk about the railings.
Yeah, Bill, we did talk about that. We said that we wanted to do it at any other open park area, kind of like Flood and Worcester, and just to keep people from driving onto the parks. And then Chad mentioned that it's kind of expensive, and that we said we could kind of do it 1 year, hit one area at a time, year by year.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a good idea. I don't know, maybe Chad, if you just want to try to plan that in your budgeting.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest, along with Ken, probably Chad Esposito, Park Superintendent. I would suggest, Wigwam Field, because that one does seem to get hit more often with cars doing donuts and stuff. because it is accessible, it's flat, it's easy on, easy off. I mean, I could take a numerical, how a linear foot of it, I could send it to Mike and I know exactly by our bid how much it'll cost. So I could bring that to the commission for next meeting or in an email if you guys want to decide if that's the first location that you want to go for. If you have other suggestions or you think anything is other more impressing, I'd be sure to happy to measure that out and give it a quote too.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wigwam would be a good place to start.
Yeah, Wigwam and Flood, and what would be the next ones after that, Chad?
Like Lincoln Street, Worcester. Mostly everything else is fenced unless you're talking about a park, but for athletic fields, those are the big key ones.
So Wigwam, Flood, and Worcester. Right.
Yeah, because the parking lot side of Worcester is covered with fencing. It's just the Lincoln Street side that's open. Second Hill Lane, but that doesn't really see significant damage. I mean, that could be a long-term thing or,
And thinking about Worcester, this is Bill O'Brien again. The gate near the parking lot probably should be, I don't know if that needs to be locked or at least kept closed somehow.
Sure, we could put a parks lock on it or something like that so that there's limited access.
All right, thanks, Chad. Anybody have anything else? All right, why don't we go on to Amy?
Wait, Bill?
Yeah.
Bill, how about what we talked about before about the signs for Benel?
Oh, yeah, this would be a good time to mention that. About a sign about no dogs at Benel, similar to what's at Penders. Is that what you mean, Ken?
Yeah, we were looking to put a sign, Chad, at Benel at both turf fields with no dogs allowed, just like we had put at Penders last year.
Chad Esposito, Park Superintendent. Sure. I could bring that to, direct to Sarah's attention and then she could have the signs made at multiple entrances or just kind of the main entrance of the turf.
And the clue is collectible milk cap game.
Yeah, this is Ken. It's tough because that Benel is so much more wide open than Penders. It only has those one or two gates. We'll have to think about that. It wouldn't hurt to have more.
Definitely we'd need the one at the top of the hill, Ken, right? And then probably over at Johnson Lane.
Yeah, at the top of both hills now, and and one in the back. Yeah, I mean at a minimum.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's Rick Marcone speaking. It would make sense to have one entrance by the baseball field, one over, but the top of the hill by the football field, and one in the back where they come into Johnson Lane. But also speaking about the fields, I don't know whether they just randomly test the new LED lights on both fields or whatever, but a couple nights they've had the lights on and it just looks fabulous. I mean, it looks like a professional ballpark. It's tremendous, really is. Great job.
Yeah, Musco was down there doing the light test about a week ago, Rick. That's probably what you saw. They had both fields on, and they were measuring the baseball field because they hadn't done that one yet. So it is, once you see them all on, it is like you just said, Rick. It's just
it's very impressive. It really is. Really is impressive.
Yeah, Bill, maybe that was the other thing we were talking about CIP, to get the LEDs at Short Beach and at Penders and at DeLuca. And like Chad said, to do them one at a time, because again, it's just too much to do all at once.
Yeah, I think we definitely want to put one in for next year. Which one do you think, Chad, first? DeLuca?
DeLuca was slated for this year, or there's money that was put in the last year's CIP, you know, if it's usable. And then next year, probably the best space to be is probably Short Beach, because that one is really, really old, like DeLuca, and then Longbrook beyond that, or Pendersfield beyond that.
Now, actually, Short Beach is probably easier to do because you can actually lower those lights, right? Oh no, but it needs new fixtures too.
Yeah, Short Beach may be like at DeLuca when the quote came through. You could use the existing poles. You just have to change all the top fixtures. With Short Beach, with the lowering mechanisms, I don't know if those poles can support the way that the LEDs, because the LEDs have kind of the same fixtures that Benel had. So I'm not sure if it could be the same or not. We've never gotten a quote for it to see how much it would be. So that would have to be something in the future to figure it out.
Okay, thanks.
And Rick, the other good thing about the new LEDs, the setup at Benel is on a app that Chad has and that Wayne has, and you can turn them on and off with your phone or a laptop or iPad or your computer. So it's really so much modern technology. It's just wonderful.
All right, thanks again, Chad. Amy, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Sorry. Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
I'll just start at the top. I'll go through what we're doing, our programs and our plans. And if you guys have any questions, you can just let me know. So winter programs, we have been approved to do a very scaled down basketball program. So Catherine and I joined together with Sterling House and Rec to put together a drill skills / scrimmage program. She's doing the boys and I'm doing the girls. After getting moved about the town of Stratford, we have ended up at Second Hill Lane School. So Catherine's first night is actually tonight. She's there now. I'm hoping it's going well. I start next week, Wednesday, with my girls program. We took for the younger groups, we took about 10 to 12 kids, and the older groups, we took about 15 kids. And they're going to do a drills and skills for like 30 minutes and then get a 15, 20-minute scrimmage after that. We figured it was at least something. We did get a lot of people signing up, and then for me at least, I got like nobody signing up, and then I got a bunch signed up, and then I shut it down, and then of course a million people come out of the woodwork, but I had to just cap it because we couldn't exceed the numbers in the gym, and I didn't want to risk it with everything going on. So I have a girls program 3rd and 4th grade and a girls 5th through 8th grade. Catherine's doing a kindergarten group, a 1st and 2nd grade, 3rd and 4th grade, 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th. The high school kids, we were going to try to do an open gym for them, but unfortunately, with the COVID vaccines going on at Birdseye, we can't be there. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do anything with the high school kids right now. We could maybe do something for them in the spring outdoors, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We ran a virtual theater program, which is now in its 5th week. It's going very well. Nick Nunez is a freshman in college. He went to Stratford High last year. It was his idea. He brought it to us. He's been running it. I'm hearing a lot of good feedback on it. The high school students are putting together a live play, which will be broadcast on February 19th and 20th on our Facebook Live at 8 o'clock. So I did post that. That's on our Facebook page. We created an events page. So, it should be interesting to see, just at least giving some theater opportunity for some kids who, have not been able to do it. Our after school program, we were doing a Monday, Tuesday program and a Thursday, Friday program. I had to shut down the Monday, Tuesday program for basically low enrollment, low attendance. We had 20 kids signed up. We will wind up getting one here, one there. We thought it was with Christmas happening, so we waited until school got back in session for the hybrid. We still wind up having like nobody for a week and a half. So we shut it down on Mondays and Tuesdays. I haven't heard any complaints because we just weren't getting anybody. The program ends in mid-March anyway. El Gato Pool is still open 5 days a week. It's going very well. The pickleball, paddleball, paddle tennis reservations are all still moving along smoothly. We moving on to spring and summer. We decided, since we're limited in the gym, that we would take all our programming outdoors for spring and summer. So starting the week of March 15th, we're going to be doing track, basketball, soccer, and football. We're going to be 4 days a week. We're going to be either at Longbrook Park or we're going to be at Short Beach, depending on the program and the day. So that I'm hoping we will start promoting that next week, and hopefully people will start signing up. Let's see. Chad and I are going to be meeting with Little League and baseball, starting to put together some requests for spring fields. We're instead of doing a big group where everybody picks, Chad and I decided we were going to sit down and figure out what was best for us and how we could break it down easier with all the new fields. So we're going to kind of, based on what I've known now for, 3 years of everybody using the fields, I know what people need to use and how they need to use it. So Chad and I came up with a pretty good schedule. So we're going to start sitting down with all the league directors and let them know, this is your field, these are the days that you can have it. So we'll see how that goes. Tyler was running my men's softball program. He has stepped down. We didn't do his men's softball last year with COVID, but he has stepped down. So I have posted a league director job up with human resources. I have some other options in-house, so we can run that program still. We may have to back it down a little bit. Previously, when it ran prior to COVID, we had about 18 teams, maybe it was 15 teams, and it dragged the season out. It was a very long season. It went way into September, October, when it was supposed to really be ending in August. So I'm thinking that we would like to narrow it down to 12 teams, have them play Mondays and Wednesdays at Short Beach and at Worcester. We're trying to keep them off the Luca, since it's one of our newest, nicest fields. I have not talked to any softball guys about it yet, so we'll see what happens. I don't know how they're going to feel about it, but I'm going to have to hire a new league director, and I'll send out the email and let the guys know what we're thinking about. Originally, it was a Monday, Wednesday program, but when I came in, I made it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because they had so many games. And Chad's crew was there till like 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes. So we're just going to do 3 games on Monday, 3 games on Wednesday, so we can get 12 teams in a week. I'm hoping that goes over well. We'll see how that goes. The other program we have is this co-ed softball, which I don't run. It's kind of something that I adopted when I came into rec. Someone else runs it and just leases the fields from us. I've gotten many, many, many complaints over the years about this league. Most recently, it's a Sunday morning group where there's drinking and, smoking dope and loud music. I had to have McNeil called me last year because they were getting complaints from neighbors. I've talked to the person who runs it numerous times. So I am most likely going to take that league back and run it through rec when I hire this league director, whoever this is going to be. I don't know that that's going to go over too well, but I believe from what I'm told, most of the people in that league are not from Stratford. There are some Stratford people, but they're not all from Stratford, and I've had a lot of complaints. So you guys may hear a complaint when I do that from the person who's running it, or maybe from some of the people, but I'm not really sure, but I need to rein it in a little bit because people think it's us out there, and it's not. And it's, I think it's time to bring it back in-house. Let's see, summer concerts.
Excuse me, Amy, this is Drew.
Yes.
Can I just ask a quick question? Is there a certain amount of residents that has to be on a roster, or is it just open to anybody? Like town residents that have to be on a roster?
Yes, so the programs that I run, like men's softball, we require like 80% of the team to be Stratford. Like you're allowed to have,
Right.
if you have a 12-person roster, you can have like 4 guys that aren't from Stratford. And they send their rosters in, and you know, I'm sure that people aren't always truthful, but I try to check. You know, I go on our tax records and I check the name and the address and see if the person is, you know, at that house. I don't check them all the time. I kind of do
Right.
random. But this softball group is somebody else runs it. It was this other person that was running it, and you know, and I didn't have a problem with it. We would just lease her the field, and she'd pay the $50 fee that we had come up with. But I started to get lots and lots of complaints. So I just felt, you know, I've been hesitating to take it back, but because Tyler didn't want to do it. But now that Tyler has stepped down and I can hire someone to run the leagues, I'm hopeful I can get someone to run that league, and we can just take it back. So, but again, you might hear some rumblings, but I've had so many complaints that I think it's the right thing to do. Anyone else have any questions about the softball stuff?
Amy, this is Bill. I'm glad you mentioned that about the men's league, because I just saw a posting on Facebook today. Somebody was asking if there was going to be a men's league and hoping there would be this year. But I would volunteer Paul Hoydick to run the softball leagues. He's got a lot of experience at it.
Sure, Paul.
Paul's busy.
Paul's busy. There you go. I have a good prospect, actually. I have someone in house, but I'm not going to mention any names. And I have someone who applied, who I spoke to briefly on the phone. It's just like a pre-interview, who sounded good. So I'm hopeful that I have somebody good who can handle that. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And yes, I mean, Bill, I will be sending out a note to all the former teams, just letting them know what I've been thinking and, you know, what we're thinking about. And I think the only issue you guys are going to maybe have that we might get some pushback on is that, you know, we had 15 teams and I'm trying to cut it down to 12 just so we can have less nights a week. You know, we can have 6 games a week. That's 12 teams without anybody getting a bye. And that's really what I'd like to do. A lot of teams drag their feet anyway and don't get me the money on time. And so I don't know. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm prepared for some people to be upset, but maybe some teams will not want to play anymore since they hadn't played in a year. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, go with first come, first serve, first 12 to get the money in, they're in.
That's how I feel too. Exactly. Thanks, Bill. So summer concerts, we're starting to interview the bands. Actually, I have Ed Sulik does that for me, so he's on the prowl, starting to hire bands. We're going to do 10 weeks this year, start June 29th, and we'll end that week of Labor Day, which the last Tuesday is August 31st. Any questions on that before I move on? Okay, beach stickers. So I know at that last meeting you guys we had talked about switching the date to ending on Labor Day. I don't know whatever happened with council. With that, I had briefly talked to Margot, brought it up, and Christiniak asked, like, when did it switch to the 30th? I had never had anyone pass Labor Day since I worked in rec. The only time I had people work past Labor Day was this year when somebody brought to my attention that the ordinance said September 30th. But so we did it, and it was kind of a waste of money. There was very few people coming in and out of the beach after Labor Day, and it costs me with my part-time staff to be there, you know, every single day of the week. It's almost $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So, you know, if there's not that many people coming in September, it kind of, you know, it's a big expense. So I don't know.
Maybe,
Yes. Hi, Paul.
maybe, Paul Hoydick, I talked to Laura and about that because it didn't make a lot of sense to me either, but she said she wanted to sit down with you and Chris and talk about it first.
Okay.
So
That's fine. Chris mentioned it to me the other day when I saw him, but he didn't really say he wanted to sit down, but we can hold off on that. You know, I didn't budget for it, so they'll have to change my budget. So that I'll talk to them about when we sit down.
okay.
I've never budgeted to go past Labor Day. I wasn't even aware. No, they hadn't done that. I'm sure Aileen would know more than me. She's been at rec longer than I have. But as far as I know, they never worked past Labor Day. And when this was brought to my attention this year, it was a surprise to me. So I don't know. But I'll talk to the mayor and Chris will figure something out. As far as beach stickers, we are in the process of ordering the new stickers for this new season coming up. I think they're going to expire 2023. The great thing that we were able to do after talking to the finance director is to change the date on the stickers. Usually the stickers expire June 30th. The problem with that is that people don't even get their stickers until the tax bill comes in the mail, which is usually like the 1st or 2nd of July. And it's like an overwhelming people calling and calling and calling, and we don't even have any stickers to give out because we don't even get them till after they go out in the tax bill. So for the next people in 2 years, the expiration will be July 15th, so that if they don't get their new sticker yet, we do it as a courtesy anyway. We would allow stickers with the June 30th expiration still into the beach through the 15th, but this way the actual date will say it, so hopefully people won't panic, start calling the office and all that type of stuff. So that is all in the process of happening now. We're also going to start like a little bit of a promoting campaign, I think, on Facebook and Instagram, and to let people know that the beach sticker is in your tax bill, to please look for it. Hopefully people will pay attention. Maybe I can ask the mayor to put it in that email she sends out all the time for coronavirus, if we keep that going, because I think it's helpful for people, because I don't think a lot of new people to town don't realize that the sticker comes in the tax bill. Summer jobs and volunteer jobs, we've posted those all up at Human Resources. So if you have anybody looking for summer work or they want to volunteer, everything's posted. They can send them in, and I'm hoping that since we started now, that by the end of March, I'll be able to take the jobs down and we can start interviewing people, have everybody kind of hired and ready to go by May, make it a little easier for Human Resources. I'm sorry, anybody have a question? Yes, Ken.
Amy, somebody asked me a question. They looked at some of the job descriptions, and it said they needed a car and a license to work at like the local, like at a school, the daily campgrounds. Is that a definite thing? Because a lot of kids these days don't get their license, as early as they used to.
It's not a requirement. I think we put it on there just because we want to make sure that they have a ride. But no, we've had a lot of kids that didn't have driver's licenses that we hire.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just didn't want to tell them, officially.
No. I don't know why. I think it's just something that's on the description that has been on the description forever, but they don't need to have a driver. As long as they can get to work, that's fine. I actually had an employee to work all the time.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. My budget, like I had said, I completed my budget and submitted it to Renee. That's another minimum wage increase this year. At August, it goes to 13, and then July 22 goes to 14. So I'm sure you guys on the council will see my budget has a bit of an increase this year. Use of properties, upcoming events, Shakespeare Market is the only permit that I've given out. They are doing the 1st and 3rd Saturday and Sunday through April. And that's it. A lot of people are starting to put in their requests for booth rentals and short beach pavilion rentals for the summer. We are taking those. We are submitting those. We are starting to move forward with those. Everyone who's renting it is signing a COVID waiver, so they're aware of whatever the rules are. The day of your rental, you have to follow those rules. So if in June it's 50 people at a gathering, then they can do 50. If it's 20, then they can only do 20. But it's part of what they sign in their agreement when we book the pavilions. And that's all I got, unless you guys have questions.
Amy, this is Bill. Catherine, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
You or Amy want to comment on National Girls and Women in Sports Day yesterday?
I'll let Catherine handle that one.
It was a great day to be a woman in sports. I don't know. So it's a national initiative where usually, you know, the local platforms, programs, groups try to do something, but now with COVID, it's hard to gather. So a lot of that I saw was social media campaigns where people posted pictures of their programs as girls and encouraging girls to play. But usually it's a national event day where, you know, local programs would try to encourage, you know, clinics or skills throughout their community. But, you know, COVID kind of put a wrench in that this year.
Yeah, it was interesting that the UConn girls game on Sunday was televised by Fox, and I read that was the first time Fox had ever televised a women's basketball game. And then last night was a great night for UConn freshmen and a high school player who is starting early.
Yeah, she's doing pretty well this year.
Yeah.
And you got
All
a
right,
lot
thank
of
you. Anybody have any other questions for Amy? If not, under new business, do we want to discuss any more about the Short Beach increase in non-resident fees, or is everybody good with it? And it makes sense to me. But I think I mentioned last month that when I was volunteering as a starter, I would always ask people on Sundays, and I'd say half the people on Sundays were from out of town. It's also a big problem with residents then are shut out sometimes because there's no tea times available.
Yeah. This is Bob Jacob with I'm part of the Short Beach Commission as well. And for us, knowing we all have been involved in this for a while now, we all know how far the course has come. It is in fantastic shape. And hearing some of the numbers that we already had that were impressive, to have us bring it more in line with what out of town, it's our asset. It's the town's asset. And the town's asset, we should not feel guilty for asking out of town people to pay a few more bucks, which is what this rate increase is, right? It goes up to 20 bucks. If an out of town person doesn't want to spend 20 bucks to come play at our golf course, then don't play. So it was an overwhelming approval from the Short Beach Commission that we've earned the right to charge more people a few bucks.
It's a little sweeter.
So Bob, was that a motion to approve?
If that's what we're supposed to do, I absolutely would put forth a motion to approve the increase to non-resident rates at Short Beach Golf Course.
I'd certainly second those, Bob. Yeah, it's not that big of an increase, and they should be paying an extra. It's Rick Marcone.
Excuse me, Bill.
And then we would send this to council with a favorable recommendation, right?
That is correct.
So I guess, is that your motion? Who made the original motion, Bob?
Yeah, yep. Is that worded properly, Aileen?
Yep, that's what I was going to say. You want to send it, do you want to approve it and send it to town council with a favorable recommendation? Thank you.
If there's nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Thanks, Aileen. And then next we have the request to name the DeLuca Press Box in memory of Hal Baird. I received a letter from Bob Baird, and I forgot to send it out until this afternoon. Aileen, did you get a chance to forward that or no? Maybe
No, I did not. I'm sorry. I did not. I'm sorry.
Is everybody familiar with that?
You had actually sent that email a while ago, so. But I did not send it out this afternoon. I'm sorry.
But Bob Baird, sent a full-page letter highlighting all the things Hal's done. I know Paul and Sean are very familiar with Hal. I'm not sure about everybody else. Amy, did you know Hal at all?
No, but I did talk to Bob about a week and a half ago. He was telling me about it.
And I'm certainly in favor of it. And I even when I talked to Laura White, she seemed to be in favor of it too. So if anybody else have anything to say about it, or do you want to send it to the council with a favorable recommendation?
Hey, Bill?
Yeah, Paul?
Yeah, I think you sent that email a while ago with that letter from Bob, which was very nice. And having the opportunity to work with Hal over quite a number of years, I'm totally in favor of naming that press box after him. He's been the voice of Stratford High softball, the Briquettes, you name it. So I'm in favor.
Is that a motion, Paul?
I'll make a motion to name the DeLuca press box in memory of Hal Bitter.
And send it
This
to
is
town
Drew.
council
Send it
with
to the
favorable.
council with
Favorable
favorable
recommendation.
recommendation. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Aileen.
And I'll second that motion. This is Drew.
Any other discussion, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks. Passes unanimously. And moving right along, let's see. I guess next item would be any members' comments, questions, concerns about anything. I guess, Amy, let me throw this out to you. Do we need to consider doing another 5-year master plan? Or even Chad, what do you think?
No,
No?
I don't know.
I think we could. I mean, if you kind of concentrate on sports fields, sports this, or if you do it town-wide, it was very, very intricate, obviously, what Ms. Petoskey put together. So I guess Amy and I could talk and see how we want to move forward towards it, but it's hard to get a focus on it because Longbrook obviously has things, Short Beach has things. So is there going to be like a subcommittee of every representative from a commission to make sure everybody's included? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, but maybe it's just a matter of updating the current one.
Yeah. I
Hey,
mean,
Bill?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe Chad just had a good idea there without maybe even realizing it, that maybe we should ask Short Beach for their 5-year plan and ask Longbrook for their 5-year plan. And we could ask all the other little subsidiaries of this committee to do it. And then we could just update whatever was left.
I like that idea.
As someone, this is Bob Jacob on the Short Beach Commission. We'd be happy to share ours. So I think I agree with Ken that if we're going to have commissions specific to certain parks for whatever reason, they certainly should be able to articulate what their plan is. And most of them can probably, I'm sure most of them can. So that's a great idea.
Great idea, Chad.
Thanks for carrying it a step further. I need it.
All right, if there's nothing else, next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 4th, 2021 at 6 p.m. We're getting closer to maybe we can have an outdoor meeting when it warms up, but that's still a couple months away.
Terrific. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, please. Rick Marcone.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Passed unanimously. Meeting adjourned at 6:45 p.m. Good meeting.
All right.
Thank you.